Look at the most expensive thing on the menu. The lobster tower, the tomahawk, the $200 platter you will never, ever order. Here's the secret the restaurant is counting on. You were never supposed to. That dish isn't there to be eaten. It's there to stand next to the $58 steak and make it feel like a rescue. It has a name, a decoy, and it is the cheapest, hardest working employee in the building. Because the menu in your hands was not printed to list food. It was engineered, line by line, font by font, to walk your finger to one specific number. Someone you will never meet has already made a fair guess about what you'll order tonight. This is how they did it. And how, by the end, you'll read a menu the way the person who built it does. Start with something that shouldn't be possible. Adding a choice nobody wants can change the choice everybody makes. Not the prices, same items, same dollars, just one extra option on the page that almost no one ever selects, and the money in the room moves. The cleanest proof comes from a magazine. In his book, Predictably Irrational, the behavioral economist Dan Ariely describes an offer he found on the website of The Economist. 3 subscriptions. Web only, $59. Print only, $125. And print plus web, also $125. Read that again. The print-only option cost exactly the same as print and web, which means it was never meant to be chosen. So, Ariely ran it as a demonstration with about 100 students. With all 3 options on the page, 84% took the expensive print and web bundle, 16% took the cheap web-only, and the pointless print-only option got exactly 0 takers. Then he deleted the option nobody chose, and watched the room change its mind. Now, most people flipped to the cheap $59 plan. The expensive bundle collapsed from 84% all the way down to 32%. The useless option wasn't useless. Its whole job was to make the expensive one look like a deal. And remove it, and the deal disappears. Here's why that should bother you. It means the preference was never really yours. You didn't walk in wanting the bundle. The layout of the page built that wanting on the spot, out of whatever it chose to put next to it. And a preference that can be built can be authored. The only open questions are by whom, and how one quietly worse option can rewrite what you want. This trick has a name and a birthday. In 1982, 3 researchers, Joel Huber, John Payne, and Christopher Puto, published a study with a dull title and an explosive result. They gave people a plain choice between 2 things. Say, a nearby restaurant that was good, and a farther one that was excellent. Subjects split fairly evenly, each weighing what they cared about. Then the researchers slid a 3rd card onto the table. A restaurant clearly worse than one of the first 2. Same distance, lower quality. A dud. Nobody picked the dud. But the dude changed everything. Just by sitting there, being obviously worse than one specific option, it made that option look like the smart pick, and choices swung toward it. The researchers called the loser an asymmetrically dominated alternative. Everyone else calls it the decoy. That's the whole mechanism. The decoy never wins. It's not supposed to. It's the ugly friend the handsome option brings to the party. Now, go back to that magazine. The $125 print-only plan was the ugly friend, and it made the identical priced bundle look like a gift. You weren't choosing a subscription. You were being shown a comparison, and the comparison was rigged. Before we go further, one honesty check. Because this is where a lot of these videos start lying to you. You've probably heard that menus have a golden triangle, that your eyes jump first to the center, then the top right corner, and that's where the restaurant hides its most profitable dish. Great story. It's also, as far as the actual research goes, mostly a myth. When Zibel Young tracked real diners' eyes across menus, they didn't sweep any magic triangle. They read the thing like what it is, a list, mostly top to bottom. The manipulation is real. But it lives in the words and the numbers, not in some mystical hot corner. And knowing the difference is how you tell a real menu trick from a myth. There is a job for this, and it has existed for decades. It's called menu engineering, and its practitioners are consultants restaurants pay to redraw the page for profit. The framework dates to 1982, the same year as the decoy study, when Michael Casavana and Donald Smith sorted every dish into a simple grid. How popular it is against how much money it makes. The high-profit, high-popularity winners they called stars. The job of the entire layout is to march your finger toward the stars. Here's the toolkit. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Tool 1, the anchor. That $200 platter from the beginning. It's the decoy, printed up top or in the corner, and its only job is to reset your sense of expensive so everything beneath it feels moderate. Then, Tool 2, the vanishing $sign. Look closely, and the fanciest menus don't write $28 or even $28. They write 28. Just the number. When Cornell researchers tested exactly this, guests handed menus with no $signs, bare numerals, spent significantly more than guests who saw the same prices with a $sign attached. The $sign, it turns out, is a tiny picture of pain. Soften it, and the ache of pain quietly fades. So you add the appetizer. Tool 3, the box. That one dish inside a border, or beside a little photo, or flagged chef's favorite. Your eye lands there because it was designed to. But chef's favorite rarely means best. It usually means best margin. The star the engineer most wants you to buy. Tool 4, the words. Grandma's slow-simmered Sunday ragu outsells pasta with meat sauce, even when it's the same pan. Restaurants have leaned on evocative, descriptive names for years to lift sales. Though I'll be straight with you. The single most cited academic study behind this comes from a researcher, Brian Wansink, whose later work was retracted for bad data. So treat descriptive naming as what it plainly is, a documented industry habit you can watch working, not a precise, proven number. Tool 5. The second cheapest trap. Look at the wine list. Almost nobody orders the cheapest bottle. It feels stingy, especially on a date. So most people slide up exactly one notch to the second cheapest. Psychologists have a name for that pull toward the safe middle. Extremeness aversion. We dodge the extremes and grab the compromise. Restaurant lore has known it forever, which is why that second cheapest bottle is so often the one carrying the fattest markup in the house. You picked it to look reasonable, and that is exactly why it was priced the way it was. None of this is a single knockout blow. It's the stacking that works. A few percent here, a few percent there, on every table, every night, forever. Menu consultants pitch precisely that. Small, compounding lifts to the check. Treat the exact numbers they quote as sales pitches, not science. But the direction is real, and it is aimed at you. Now the menu can't work on you the same way. The trick was never really in the food. It was in the comparison, and comparisons only work while they stay invisible. So the next time a laminated page lands in your hands, run the annotations. Find the anchor, the absurd, expensive dish up top, and mentally cross it out. It's an actor, not an option. Notice whether the prices still wear dollar signs, or whether they've quietly slipped off. Read the box, the little photo, the words "Chef's Special" as a pointing finger, not a recommendation. And when you hit the wine list and feel your hand drift to the second safest choice, pause 1 second and ask whose idea that was. You'll notice something the first time you do this. The menu doesn't change, but the feeling does. That smooth, frictionless certainty about what you want gets a little louder, a little more obviously installed. That noise is the sound of a decision being made for you. You don't have to fight it. Order the steak if you want the steak. The point was never to eat cheaper. The point is that a choice you can watch being built is a choice you actually get to make. Remember the dish you'd never order, the one from the very beginning. It was working on you before you read a single word of this. Now it works for you as a tell. That is the whole difference between reading a menu and being read by one. And notice what actually did the work here. Not the price of any single dish, but the number your mind quietly accepted as normal for one meal. Move that number, and everything near it reprices itself. Now imagine that anchor didn't get reset for one dinner, but for an entire life, overnight. That's what happens to the people who suddenly win millions. Why nearly a third of them still end up broke is a story about this same wiring, and it's next.